Welcome to a devotional slash study on the book of Ecclesiastes. This is not a study as I would typically do a Bible study where I really like to get into the ins and outs of a passage, but I am going to do a little bit of that. And the reason is I've been studying Ecclesiastes for a long time. But the intent of these videos are to be short little videos that reflect some of what I think happened in the book of Ecclesiastes. So we are going to start with background information. And one of the first questions I often get when we talk about Ecclesiastes is, why should we study it? Well, if you don't take the first course of action, which is to say, it's in the Bible, therefore we should study it, it's part of our Christian heritage. If you don't take that path, I would argue the reason to study Ecclesiastes is it has a lot to say about our world today. And in particular, how we as individuals relate to the world. Ecclesiastes is not particularly a communal book in that other books of the Bible talk about what the community is facing. It is more of a personal, individual reflection. The other question I get is, how did I end up with Ecclesiastes? Well, I was in college and I was taking, it would be Old Testament survey. I went to a conservative Bible college that you had to take Old Testament and New Testament survey, which essentially you read the entire book of the Bible, all the books of the Bible, and you got a really big overview of all of the books. So I was already at least passingly familiar with Ecclesiastes by that point. But the event that really changed it was the death of someone who had always been there in my childhood. Now, this was kind of a different setup because the person who I'm talking about was a next door neighbor. And we called her Aunt Roma. Her name, I believe, was Roma. But we called her Aunt even though she wasn't related by blood at all. It was that type of community. And she was old. Well, when I say old, of course, being older now, I don't necessarily view it that old, but she was older, and it wasn't really surprising that she passed. But I had found at this point I was wrestling with what I believe and how I believe things and all of those pieces together. So it kind of just merged into the right time frame. Well, I did what any aspiring pastor would do. I took my Bible and I did this, hoping that I would find something that would speak to me. I don't recommend you do that. If you're looking for scripture passages because of an issue in your life or something or a situation, talk to a pastor. They can direct you. But I did not. And I know I'm not that uncommon when I did that. But what happened is I landed on the book of Ecclesiastes. And that started a lifelong study. It is without a doubt my favorite book of the Bible, and I go back to it constantly. There are a number of things that we need to reflect on when we talk about how to interpret Ecclesiastes, and we're going to get to those in some of the other videos. But what I found in the book of Ecclesiastes was a voice that spoke to me in comforting me that this is life. That life happens, and there's not much we can do about it. Seems pretty apropos for today. If you are joining with me on this, I know, like I said, it's just the beginning of the study, but I'd like to encourage you, if you have a study Bible, to kind of read some of the opening information, because the next couple videos are going to talk about some of that opening information. But I wanted to give you my reasons. This is why I study the book of Ecclesiastes. This is why I turn to it time and time again to speak to me in times of trouble, to pull words of wisdom to help others. This is my go-to. So go ahead and read that introductory material. And I want you to reflect, and this is not really based on Ecclesiastes per se, I want you to reflect on what scriptures have spoken to you in your life. What has jumped out at you? Because not all of them speak the same way. And we treat the Bible as some type of monolith when it's not. It is separate books of the Bible, speaks in different ways and at different times. So take some time to reflect on that this day.